Look across any classroom, and you're watching thousands of decisions happen in real time. Who's called on? Who gets extra time? Who gets a warning? When one student speaks out of turn, we might see it as confident. When another student does the exact same thing, they are marked down as disruptive. A multilingual learner pauses to translate a thought, and we assume they don't know the answer. One child's messy handwriting is brushed off as creative energy, while another's is flagged as careless. Teachers enter this profession because they care about children, but that care doesn't always account for the unwritten rules and invisible assumptions that shape a student's day. Our brains process 11 million pieces of information every second. To keep up, we take cognitive shortcuts. We categorize. We rely on patterns. Taking these shortcuts doesn't mean a teacher is malicious. It means they are human. We all absorb the stereotypes, cultural norms, and media images that surround us. You can hold a deep, conscious belief in equity, while your brain simultaneously relies on implicit associations that conflict with those very values. When a split-second assumption happens once, it's an oversight. When it repeats every day, it becomes a pattern. And when those patterns spread across a building for years, they harden into an unequal culture. We see this bias play out in participation. We regularly invite the loudest hands into the conversation, easily mistaking confidence for actual understanding. It dictates discipline. A white student acts out and receives a gentle redirection. A Black or Latinx student does the exact same thing and is sent to the office. It limits expectations. We sometimes overcompensate by offering emotional support while quietly removing the intellectual rigor, essentially lowering the academic ceiling for marginalized kids. It filters our assessment. When grading a paper, a student's past behavioral record can color how we interpret their current effort, and it gates opportunity. It decides who gets recommended for the student council, the gifted program, or the school ambassador role. None of these moments live in isolation. Together, they form an invisible curriculum that systematically denies specific groups of students a fair education. Dismantling these patterns requires action on 3 levels: personal awareness, interpersonal dialogue, and institutional systems. A single diversity workshop won't change a classroom. Progress starts when teachers examine their daily habits, then discuss those patterns in safe, professional spaces. The first practical step is to slow down. Bias thrives on speed and stress. By taking a single breath before you react, you buy your brain the time to ask, what else could be true about this situation? Next, replace subjective labels with objective evidence. Instead of calling a student lazy, note that they missed 3 assignments. Evidence creates a path for support. Labels shut it down. You can also actively track who you are calling on to expose your own blind spots, and use blind grading moderation with colleagues to ensure a student's reputation isn't grading their paper. Educators close the gap between what they intend to do and what actually happens by replacing automatic reactions with deliberate, evidence-based routines. For school leaders, the mandate is clear. You have to normalize this conversation. Remove the personal guilt and reframe bias as an ongoing, shared professional responsibility. To find the inequities in your building, don't rely on how people feel. Look at the hard data. High rates of discipline for specific student groups create a direct barrier to long-term academic opportunities, moving them further away from advanced coursework with every referral. Leaders must avoid common institutional traps. Don't rely on annual training modules. Don't single out individual teachers. And do not confuse an International Food Day celebration with actual equity work. Good intentions are simply not enough. A school system can be staffed entirely by kind people and still fail its marginalized students. A real school-wide plan starts with establishing a shared vocabulary. From there, you gather raw evidence through audits and surveys and isolate 1 or 2 specific priority areas to tackle first, like discipline or assessment. Then, you build mandatory bias checks into your daily administrative routines. You make asking, what assumptions are shaping this decision, a habit, and you continuously review your data to measure the actual impact. When these systems are in place, that busy classroom we saw earlier upreads differently. Teachers pause. They rely on evidence. They check their assumptions, ensuring every student has an equal chance to be heard. Equity happens when we make the invisible visible. Start one conversation this week. Check one pattern. Change one routine. That is how a school moves from good intentions to real inclusion.